Does that look good?
Yeah.
By God, man, it is good. Wicked good chowder. Hey everyone, it's Kenji. I'm gonna make some salmon chowder. Chowder. Let's get our pancetta in here. Pancetta cubes, just a few ounces of them. You could also use, salt pork would be the more traditional New England choice, but we are not in New England, as is made evident by the salmon here. You could also use bacon chunks. Sometimes I find bacon, the smokiness of bacon, to be a little overpowering in a chowder. You can also go completely pork-free. So pancetta, a little water, high heat. That water, what it's going to do is it's going to help some of that pancetta fat start to render out, so that by the time the water is evaporated, we'll have a little bit of rendered fat, so the pancetta can start browning. So I was born in New England. I grew up sort of between New York and Boston. So I grew up eating quite a bit of clam chowder, and a fair number of fish chowder too, cod chowder, some lobster chowder. However, salmon chowder isn't really a thing over on the East Coast, because salmon be a Pacific fish. Specifically because salmon's not Atlantic. However, now that I live in the Pacific Northwest, our waters are rife with salmon. And so I started making a salmon chowder, and my kids like it. I like it. It's very inexpensive, because salmon's inexpensive up here. And it's easy. Similar base to the way I would make a clam chowder. So if you've seen my clam chowder videos or recipes, you'll know where we're starting here. The word chowder, it's not completely clear where it comes from. It could be from the French cooking vessel, the chaudier, which is like a big cooking pot. There's also an old English word for a fishmonger, chowder, which could also be where the word chowder comes from. But whatever it is, it came from England and France, and it made its way to New England. And so all those Atlantic coastal, European-influenced fishing towns, that's where you find chowder. Boston, New Bedford, Gloucester, all those places in New England. Originally the idea behind chowder was that it was a dish you can make out in the ocean when you're fishing. So you would take salt pork or salt beef, some kind of salty preserved meat. You would take crackers, like hardtack, so really dry crackers, and then you'd layer them in a pot with either fresh fish that you've just caught, or maybe clams that you've just caught, or preserved fish, like salted fish, and then you would cover it with water and boil it all together. In fact, I'm going to need to test if this is browned enough. Yep, we're good. All right. We'll get some celery in there. We'll get some diced onion in there. Is there a famous Seattle place that does salmon chowder? Does the chowder shop in Pike Place do salmon chowder? Probably, right?
They for sure
do. All right, so very, very simple. Onions and celery. I'm going to throw a couple thyme sprigs in there. We're not looking to brown these onions and celery. We just want to kind of gently soften them. So I've turned the heat down to a medium-low. The pancetta has quite a bit of salt, so I'm not adding a ton of extra salt here, but just a little pinch of salt and MSG. Quite a bit of black pepper. I like a lot of pepper in my chowder. Okay, and then meanwhile, I'm going to get some potatoes peeled up. I'm using Yukon Golds. I find that if you use russet potatoes, so like a starchier potato in chowder, what can happen is the starch will kind of start to come off of the potato, and it can make the chowder break, so it can turn your chowder a little bit kind of gritty and broken. Whereas with a Yukon Gold or even like a really waxy red potato, your potatoes stay in nice chunks that don't affect the final texture of the chowder. Old school chowder, if you're to believe some of the history and look at older recipes, you'll find that it's actually not a dairy-based thing. It's thickened with biscuits with crackers, but no dairy, whereas most modern chowders have dairy. And oftentimes I find that modern chowders are sometimes too thick. They get a little, well, I don't know. I like them. I like a thick chowder, but I also like a nice sort of thin, really seafood broth forward chowder. I don't like it when they're paste though, when they taste like Elmer's glue. like salty Elmer's. All right, so at this point we're going to add some flour, a couple tablespoons. And we want to cook that down just so that you don't have much raw flour flavor in there, but we're not looking to really darken it at all here. You know, chowder, there's generally not many. It's a pale dish. Pale as the as pale as the New Englanders who make it. All right, bottled clam juice. You could also use bottled seafood stock, or if you got your own homemade seafood stock, that also works. Seafood stock's really easy and cheap to make. You just go to the seafood department and ask them for fish scraps or salmon heads, and generally they will either give them to you for free or sell them to you really cheap. My daughter on her 4th birthday got a sack of salmon heads that we roasted for her birthday dinner. But anyways, yeah, you get a sack of salmon heads or fish scraps, and because fish, the bones are so thin, the collagen in them the connective tissue is so much more soluble than in a land-based animal. You only have to simmer it, for half an hour or so to extract a lot of really nice flavor. All right, so we got our clam juice in there. We're going to cook it till it thickens up a little, make sure all that flour is dissolved, and then we're going to go in with our other liquids. You can do this all with milk. I'm going to do, you could do it all with half and half. I'm going to do it with half and half, and half milk. So this is, we're essentially doing it with 3/4 and 1/4. And half, is the cream first or is the milk first?
Depends if the glass is half empty or half full.
Half and half. Milk. Add equal parts of each. A couple cups of each. Now we're going to go in with our potatoes. If you have a restaurant, this is a great dish for using up those fish scraps. I'm assuming most of you watching this don't have a restaurant, but if you've ever, say, ordered fish from the fish counter and you didn't specify that you want your salmon center cut and they give you those scraggly end pieces, this is a good way to use them up. This is about a pound of salmon. I think I'm only going to do about 8 ounces in here. So I'll actually just, I will specifically cut out the nicer part of the salmon so that I can pan-sear it later and give it to my kids. So let's take off this chunk for the chowder. We'll leave this chunk for the kids later. Nice chunk there. And the rest of this will go into the chowder. There's a little pin bone here we can take out. You don't want bones in your chowder. You should always feel your salmon like that and make sure that there's no bones in it. You can also get skin off salmon if you don't want to have to cut the skin off. But salmon skins are relatively easy. Salmon is a relatively easy fish to skin. It's going to be cat treats later. So the salmon, we're going to just chunk it up a little. I'm doing this with a combination of fresh and smoked salmon. So this is about 8 ounces of fresh salmon and just a couple ounces of smoked salmon. You could do it with all fresh salmon. I like the way the smoked salmon, gives it a little bit of smokiness at the end. But we're going to do, bite-sized chunks. You don't want it too small because if the salmon chunks get too small, they will end up sort of overcooking. So you do want your salmon to kind of be nice and chunky so that when we add it towards the end, they're still nicely cooked and juicy. All right, we're going to let this come up to a simmer and we're going to cook until those potatoes are tender. So that'll take probably once it gets up to simmer, about 10 or 15 minutes or so. All right, so I'll see you in... Oh, wait a minute. We forgot the bay leaf. The all-important bay leaf. All right, now I'll see you in 10 or 15 minutes. All right, so this looks done. I'm just going to pull out a potato chunk and burn my mouth on it to make sure it's cooked through. Yep. So soft, but not falling apart. It does look a little bit thick to me, so I'm just going to thin it out. You can always feel free to adjust the texture if you want to half and half so that it's not quite as thick. You want thick, but not gluey. That's looking good to me. All right. So at this point, I'm just going to fish out my big old thyme sprigs.
Fish out.
We can leave our bay leaf in there for the lucky finder. And then we'll get our salmon chunks in there. The salmon cooks really fast. It's just a few minutes in there. And while the salmon chunks cook, we will get our final garnishes. So I got my smoked salmon here. The smoked salmon I'm going to add at the very end so that they don't kind of overwhelm it with their smokiness, but I'm just going to kind of tear this up into little bite-sized pieces like that. And then to finish it, you can use whatever herbs you want. Oftentimes chowders are just a pale white thing. You can avoid anything green if you don't want anything green. But I'm going to put some dill. I think dill and salmon kind of always pair really well together. So dill fronds, bundle them up and just, there you go. And you know what? I will also just add a little bit of lemon to this. As I was researching, not this recipe, but a clam chowder recipe I wrote a while back, I found this book by Jasper White, who is the sort of preeminent 20th century New England chef. He had some restaurants in Boston, but he wrote a book called 50 Chowders. And in that, he quoted a poem from the 1752, September 23rd, 1752-51 edition of the Boston Evening Post, in which they were describing chowder in poetry form. So this is how a chowder was thought of in the 18th century. Because in chowder there can be no turning. Then lay some pork in slices very thin. Thus you in chowder always must begin. Next, lay some fish out crosswise, very nice. Then season with pepper, salt, and spice. Parsley, sweet marjoram, savory, and thyme. Then biscuit next, which must be soaked some time. Rhyming time with time then. Thus, your foundation laid, you will be able to raise a chowder high as the Tower of Babel. For by repeating o'er the same again, you may make a chowder for 1,000 men. Last, a bottle of claret with water to smother 'em. You'll have a mess which some call omnium gatherum, which I think means like, come one and all. All right, so we're making some omnium gatherum right now. I think our salmon pieces are done. We're gonna finish off by stirring in our smoked salmon. I'm gonna do a little squeeze of lemon just to brighten up that flavor a tiny bit. I'll put in some dill. Just by looking at it, I can see it needs more black pepper. I like to see specks of black pepper in there. And then we'll taste it for everything else for the salt level. Look at that, nice chunky chowder. A little bit more salt, salt and MSG. I like that lemon in there. Chowders can obviously be very heavy, but just that little bit of lemon and the fresh herbs, I think really kind of brightens it all up. I also like to finish my own chowder in the bowl with some hot sauce, so we'll do that too. That's good. Let's ladle her up. I'm going to go with a dash of the Old Mary Sharps. And just for good measure, let's do a little drizzle of olive oil too. Obviously not a New England staple, but you could do melted butter on there and that would be good. Got our oyster crackers on the side. I think we're ready to go. Crackers in there. These are not Westminster oyster crackers, which are sort of the, the brand of New England, but they'll do. Got a nice chunk of salmon. Does that look good?
Yeah.
By God, man, it is good. Hey, some good. Wicked good chowder. This is good. I'm not even a huge salmon fan, which maybe betrays me as a non-Pacific Northwest native, but when you soak it in butter and cream or pancetta and cream, it's really good. And those pieces are still nice and really moist inside. All right, simple salmon chowder. You know, most chowders are the basic process for them are the same, whether you're making a fish chowder or a clam chowder, a lobster chowder or a crab chowder, you know, whatever it is. These New England style chowders, you start with some salted pork product, you brown it, you add some onions and celery, then you add whatever fish juice you want. You can do fish juice, you could do clam juice, you could do crab juice, you could do Mountain Dew. Thicken it up, add in your dairy, and then put your seafood in and simmer it. And real simple and just, all right. Salmon chowder. Guys, gals, non-binary pals, see you later.